Stu is really excited as this was at the top of his bucket list to visit on this trip.
But it was courageous action as you can see. It's a fantastic story.
I bet that's given you nightmares.
Yeah.
But it does look like it will be absolutely fantastic when it's completed. Welcome to the channel. That's Harry, our campervan, and that's me, Jane, and here's Stu, and we love to share with you our van life adventures. So that was an approved park up that we stopped at last night. There was just 2 spots for a campervan or motorhome. I think you'd be quite tightly squeezed for a motorhome, to be honest, but and Stu, not so much me, but then I sleep better than Stu. Stu says he seems a bit more relaxed in these places because he knows he can be there. But I think if you come into France, you're not going to have any problem free parking at all. They really embrace it and make it easy for you. So
yeah, we've tried all types of them. We've done the off-grid park-ups and we've found some really great ones, and they're probably my favourite in fairness. But we found some airs, but we found airs that we've had to pay for, and they've been nice. We found airs that you haven't got to pay for, and they've been okay. We found some airs that actually, like the other day where we spent 3 nights at, it was just a fantastic location. So I think you can get anything you want, and I think that the fact they've got these services facilities where you can do the drop off your grey water, your black waste, and yeah, that was at the back of the town hall. It's obviously it's all provided by the local council, whatever they are called out here. I think it's fantastic. So it's a great little setup they've got.
we're parked just outside the Pegasus Museum at Benville. Stu is really excited as this was at the top of his bucket list to visit on this trip. And he's finally made it. And I have to say that I'm pretty excited too.
In 1944, the Allied forces were gathering themselves in England in readiness to invade and land in mainland Europe, hopefully to turn the outcome of the war. Meanwhile, Hitler and the German army gathered intelligence trying to second guess where the Allies would attempt to land. The obvious and shortest distance was around the Calais area, and therefore this was the assumed target. But this was not to be, and the Allies had all eyes on the beaches of Normandy, which lay to the west of Calais. The Allies' forces had identified 5 beaches to land their forces. To support this and to ensure a successful beachhead was achieved, several special missions behind enemy lines were to occur, all focused on one outcome, that of protecting or supporting the ultimate objective of securing a successful landing on all 5 beaches. So today we're going to tell the story of one such remarkable mission that took place in advance of the 6th of June 1944. The mission fell to the men of the 6th Airborne Division. Their objective was to capture and secure 2 key bridges now known as Pegasus and the Horsa Bridge. This would support British forces landing at the nearby Sword Beach. Those soldiers landing on the beaches would need to cross these 2 natural waterways of the Caen Canal and Orne River on their way to the ultimate strategic city of Caen itself. A total of 181 men would carry out this mission, led by Major John Howard. Using Horsa gliders, they took off from RAF Tarrant Rushton in Dorset, England, and their mission was clear.
So as part of many missions going on the 6th of June in 1944, as part of Operation Overlord and the Normandy landings, there was this strategic operation of what is now called Pegasus Bridge and Horsa Bridge, 2 bridges that were vital in the strategic part of getting troops off the bridges at Sword Beach and then moving on to Caen as fast as they could. Without these bridges it would have actually bogged down the push forward even more so. So in the early hours the British 6th Airborne Division took off from the UK. They were towed across the channel, the 6 gliders. They were fairly lightly armed because that's all they could carry. 28 soldiers in each plus 2 crewmen, air crewmen, and they came and released
over the channel by, I presume, probably Halifax bombers or something like that. So they came in over on this side because that would have been the quieter side. They came in and they swooped and came round and landed. The first 3 landed, believe it or not, within 20-30 metres of the bridge. This isn't the original bridge, this is a lot bigger. This is probably twice as big as the original bridge. The original bridge is actually in the museum now. It was a lot smaller bridge at the time. But they landed, 3 gliders, one after the other. Unfortunately, one of them broke up and was half in the water. Unfortunately, one of the soldiers drowned in that glider. The first one that was carrying Major Howard actually broke the barbed wire and actually helped them get through the barbed wire. They then attacked. He was very lightly defended. They didn't know that at the time. I think there was only about 13, they reckon. They've only just found this out. There's about 13 German soldiers garrisoned here, and there's only 2 or 3 on at the time, but obviously as soon as they started to realise there was more Germans that would appear, they took the bridge fairly quickly. With small arms fires, they charged the bridge. They then went over the bridge. Unfortunately, one of the soldiers was fatally wounded going over the bridge. And one of the stories is that one of the soldiers saw a shadow in the upper room of the cafe over there, thinking it was German shot, and that person soon fled. In fact, it was the owner of the cafe. Apparently he and his family were hiding in the basement because they heard the small arms fire early on and the explosions, etc. So they hid. He went up to see what was going on and obviously got shot at and soon went back to his family, I'm sure, down in the basement, so it's said. The actual taking of the bridge was relatively easy in as much as there wasn't that many soldiers. The key was now holding it, because they needed to hold it until such time the British troops got off Sword Beach and came to actually support them here. When they went in further into the town, 2 armoured vehicles came round the corner. One of them had a Piat anti-tank gun that fired at it and actually managed to hit it, and it exploded and burst into flames. In fact, I understand one of the soldiers from the British soldiers' side, from the paratroops, helped get one of the Germans out of there because he was badly wounded, although unfortunately he died later on. So the other bridge, the Horsa Bridge, as I said, one of the gliders failed to hit its drop zone, so it only had 2 gliders, all landed within about 50 to 100 metres of the target. And again, that was even more lightly armed, to be perfectly honest, by the Germans, so that was very quickly taken. But they managed to hold on to this because there was lots of Germans obviously in the area, and I think it was the 21st Panzer Division wasn't that far away. They managed to hold on to this until the British troops came across. During the course of the following hours of taking the bridge, at least 1, maybe 2 gunboats were seen coming up here. So they again used the Piat to fire at it, and they hit it, and apparently they destroyed it, or it certainly destroyed enough to turn it round. And apparently the other one, there was a German artillery weapon here by the bridge that was reused by the paratroopers, and one of them, seeing a gunboat coming down this way, jumped into where the gun was, fired a couple of rounds at it, either hit it and certainly made it turn tail and go back the other way. All of that managed to retain the bridge until such time the troops coming from Sword Beach came across and joined up with them. But it was courageous action, as you can see. It's a fantastic story.
The museum is really well laid out to support the story of the mission and the personal accounts of those that took part. And there are many original artefacts connected and supporting this unique story. Bet that's given you nightmares.
Yeah.
I should point out that Stu's mum used to knit in vests.
Yeah,
and
I'm starting to shake a bit now.
He still gets traumatised by knitted articles, shall we say.
The Allied forces used dummy parachutists to cause confusion amongst the German army. Some had explosives attached to them. So Sergeant Wagger Thornton, using the Piat, destroyed a tank coming in to the village.
But the biggest thrill for us was that outside they have saved and preserved the original iconic bridge. The original bridge is a lot smaller than today's bridge, and that was because it had to cope with the modern day heavy traffic. It was a huge cost to get it moved to this location due to its weight and the soft earth that needed to be strengthened to support it in its final resting place. And the fact that today you can walk over this historic bridge is quite a big deal for both of us. You can see the evidence of the explosions on various parts of the bridge. And we managed to join a free tour that we highly recommend that you do, and it really brought to life some of the facts of the missions. This reconstructed Horsa glider gives us a sense of the crude but effective nature of these gliders.
The glide ratio is 1:410 at best. So you see, they keep on falling once released. In fact, they were not designed to glide far. They were designed to bring troops, to bring everything they couldn't drop. And they had to be cheap because they were disposable.
So the landing speed of these is 70 to 90 miles an hour on landing, so it's a hell of a speed that they come in at. Carries 28 soldiers and pilots and I guess navigators, that's 30 in total.
We find out some of the bending of the truth that was actually in the Longest Day film.
Then there are other mistakes. The first one in the movie is the approach of the gliders. I told you they came from this side. In the movie, they come from that side. Then the battle for the bridge. In the Longest Day, it shows a big battle happening here on the bridge. No, the battle took place on both sides, not on the bridge.
Is it true that when they went over the bridge,
Yes.
the cafe owner came to the window and they saw a silhouette shot and
Yes.
he went back
That's
into
what
the...
in fact, he was interviewed in September 44. He says in prescription that he heard the noise of the battle, so he takes the kids down, everybody down the cellar. When things seems to be quieting down, he went up the window, and that's when he got shot at.
Obviously, if you've seen the Longest Day film, some of those things aren't quite right, and you'll see that the piper brings them across the bridge. Not true, apparently. In speaking to the piper, he actually ran across the bridge because there was still sniping going on. So he said he didn't hang about on the bridge, he ran across the bridge. He played his bagpipes apparently on when he went over Horsa Bridge, but wasn't going to do it here because there was still a live fire going on. So this is the location of the Horsa glider Howard, where it landed, next to the bridge. I think it went and broke the barbed wire, made it a bit easier for them to then get out and run onto the bridge. Just behind it landed the second glider. It's amazing how close they managed to get to the bridge. And this is the third glider. Again, even the third glider is so close to the bridge.
We decided to take a walk over the bridge to the famous cafe Gondry that was intrinsically linked to the story. Today the cafe is still in the family and it's run by Arlette Gondry, who was 5 at the time of the liberation. Both her parents were part of the French resistance, but apparently she's famously referred to as simply Madame. And she actually served me when I went in, and the cafe is full of really interesting memorabilia. But unfortunately, you can't take photographs. And we sat and had a nice ham and cheese baguette, coffee and Coke. I've just left Stu to go and do some narration to camera, and as I was walking back, I was thinking about history becomes more important. It does to me. I'm only speaking for myself, but how important it becomes as you get older. And I think that's because your perception of time when you're young is just distorted. You think you're invincible and that you'll live forever. And I think as you go through your decades, you start to realise, you know, at the beginning of World War II, my mum, who's alive today, was 9 years old, and we've got a grandson that's 9. And that puts it in perspective. So we've just spent, gosh, a good 2 hours. We probably could have done 4.
Yeah,
yeah, at the museum that they've got here. It's a very popular museum. It's probably the most popular we've seen on our journeys to these type of museums. So because it's such an interesting story.
Come on then, let's go.
So please hit that like and subscribe button now, as it really helps the channel and it makes us motivated to produce more videos. Well, with the bridges secured, it's time to move on to Caen like the invasion force. But it's really hot and we're really tired.
So now it's flashing straight on.
Yeah, so he went.
On the basis I can go.
We headed for the centre around the castle.
So hopefully we're in for a nice tour. On Google Earth it looks really nice, although I can hear some building works going on, but
I think that's behind us, isn't it?
no, I could see over there. We'll see when we go in. Not quite as pretty as it could be.
But it does look like it will be absolutely fantastic when it's completed.
So we're just going to go for a walk around instead. We're pretty tired actually. I am. I don't know if Jane is.
Yeah, and it's quite warm.
It's really warm. It's quite humid today. So I suspect we won't be too long walking around. And we're going to go and find a place to park.
So we bid a hasty retreat to find somewhere to sit and have a drink, but building works also dominated that area too. And everywhere you look seems to be working.
She went in for a baguette. My suspicion is we've got another treat coming our way.
I obviously need to practice my French because I said, oh no I didn't, I said toi.
Well, there you go, you got what you asked for.
No, I thought it's deux. I thought I said deux. I'm gone. 1, 2, toi, please, toi.
I'm glad you said toi.
Yeah.
Curb right, curb right, curb right.
And we both felt that we didn't do Caen a justice, so a revisit on another trip is definitely needed. So please let us know in the comments, is there any attractions that we should be looking for next time we go?
Their own tram system.
We head for a couple of target park-up sites off the Park for Night app.
300 meters, turn right onto Reolink Argus, and then your destination is ahead. Turn right now, and then your destination is ahead.
That way again. I'm just wondering if... Unfortunately, the first didn't work out once we found it. It was next to a school and Stu didn't feel comfortable. But finally, a nice deserted car park outside the village was our final resting place. And as one adventure ends, another begins with a hidden gem at this location that we'll share with you in our next episode.